Okay, here we are again with the PAW-5000 from Casio. So we'll just take a couple looks at the features of this watch. As you can see, the second hand's ticking away. And then below, one of the downsides of having an analog digital watch, you can see that the minute hand now is obscuring the date. So this is March 2nd. There's a 2 behind there. And you can see right next to there you have the Barometer Graph. So that's showing the changes in the atmospheric pressure as we go along here over time. I can change that to the day of the week if I want by pushing the adjust button, so then it'll show me that it's March 2nd and it's a Tuesday. So we'll go back to the Barometer Graph. I like that better. So we'll go through some of the features here. We'll start with the modes. So this is the regular timekeeping mode. The very first mode that you have here is the record mode. So this is all the recordings of altitude. So what you can do is you can scroll through. So what it's telling me here is the lowest altitude this watch has ever seen is 20 feet above sea level, and that was at 11:33. And if I go back to it here, it tells you that it was on 3:1. So at 11:33 on March 1st, it went to the lowest point that the watch has ever been. I guess there's probably a way to clear that, but and then you can also go to the highest. So that was on 2:14. It made it to 960 feet at 4:33 in the afternoon. It will memorize a record. So this record I have not stored a record, but you can start and save a record if you are climbing something or going on a hike or something. The descent, so it'll tell you your cumulative descent on a particular hike, and it'll tell you your cumulative ascent. So the cumulative ascent, it will tell you if you started off at a sea level, for instance, and you went up 500 feet and you went back down, and then you went up 1,000 feet, it would basically tell you that your cumulative ascent would have been 1,500 feet. So you ended up going up 500, down 500, and up 1,000. So you totally went up 1,500, even though you're only 1,000 feet above sea level. So that's kind of cool. So if you do go on a hike, it tells you how much, how far up you went. So we'll go to the stopwatch mode here. This is a pretty standard chronograph. The altimeter button is the start, and so I'll stop it there, and the compass button is the reset. And we'll go to the timer mode. That minute hand gets in the way, doesn't it? So this has a 60-minute countdown timer. So you can see it's 60 minutes there. It doesn't go any higher than that. That's pretty much it. I don't really ever use more than a 60-minute countdown timer, so I'm not too worried about it. The alarm, like most of the recent Casios, it does have 5 alarms plus the time signal. So here's the third alarm, second alarm, first alarm. There's a hourly chime. And this is the 5th one. One thing that this doesn't have that a lot of Casios have now is a snooze alarm. So it does not have the snooze feature. So when you go in there to set the alarm, you can really only set the time. You can't set the date, and you can't set it to be a snooze alarm like some. So this is your world time mode. So I have this set to LAX. That's my my world time choice. I'm in the New York time zone here. My home time zone is New York City. With this mode, you can actually push a button. I believe it's this one, but I would have to look that up again. But if you hold it down for a couple seconds, it will actually swap the time zones. So it'll actually make your new home city your secondary one. So it'll make me LAX. So basically, if I went out there to travel, I could swap the time zones, and then my watch would know that I'm in LAX. And tonight, when it was going to sync, it would actually sync like it was in LAX. So it's actually changing the whole home time of the watch. So it's not just reversing, it's not just swapping times, it's actually changing which home time the watch is referring to. So there you go. And then we have the receive mode. So it's telling me that it received at 1:04 a.m. on March 2nd. So it was successfully received. And then we have the handset mode. The handset mode is just here to show you that this is the time the watch thinks it is. So it thinks it's 10:33 p.m. and 42 seconds. And if you just take a look at the hand, you can tell that the hand is perfectly synced up with what the watch thinks it is. If you ever get into this mode and these two things differ, you can actually have it do an auto set, and I will just it's sort of long, so I'm not going to do that right now, but I might do another video of that and put it up. It's pretty cool looking. They kind of buzz around until they find home, and then it goes back to the time. So that's that, and that goes back to the home, and you see that big H there? That's telling you that the battery is full. That little H would then turn into an L or another symbol if the battery was low or needed to be charged. So we'll get going here with some of the functions. So the altimeter, we'll hit that button there. So we got the second hand swinging around, and what it's telling me is that it's working on the altitude. So now it's telling me that I'm 240 feet, and these indications here, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 10, are either incremented in 5 meters or 50 meters. So every 1 is 5 meters, 2 would be 10 meters, 3 15 meters, so forth and so on, depending on how far up you're ascending. So if that scale of measurement isn't appropriate for what you're doing, it will automatically change it to be 50 meters each tick. So this is just telling me that from my reference altitude I've gone up 5, 10 meters. So I really haven't. I've gone nowhere, but we all know how that works. Just for reference, we'll see what the altitude is over here. We'll see what we got. We'll see if we're close. Oh, 280. Okay, so apparently these watches are 40 feet different in their altitude off of sea level. Neither one has been calibrated or has been set to any reference altitude. These are both, straight out of the box. And we have the barometer. So we'll go into the barometer mode. It's going to tell you what the barometer looks like. So that's 29.65 millimeters of mercury. You can change that to hectopascal if you want. It's showing you the typical bar or the typical graph of what the pressure's been doing. And then the second hand is going to move up or down depending on if there's a rise or a fall in pressure over the last couple hours. And this thing is going to tell you it's 1 hectopascal per denomination on there. So then look at that, the pressure just went down. So according to that, we'll back up. So according to that, it went down 1 hectopascal for a second. Maybe I was whatever. Anyway, so that's that. That's the you want to change it to temperature. You can get the temperature there at 76.2 degrees, 0.4 degrees. That's because I'm holding it. And you can see the pressure just dropped again. So it's probably in between there, and it just can't decide. So then we'll go to the compass mode, and that's pretty cool. I'll hit the compass, and there it goes, swings around, and then now it's going to show north. So as I move the watch around, it's constantly adjusting and showing me which direction I'm heading. So this is my heading here, the front of the watch. So my heading is 100. Here it's 119 degrees, and kind of as you swing it around, it follows along. Well, now it only does it for 20 seconds, so we'll try it again here. So it goes the compass, gets the bearing, and then it tells you where you're going. So north is clearly behind me. So that's pretty good at figuring it out, but that's it. That concludes the phase 2 of my review. And if I have anything else to show you, I'll be sure to flip the camera back on.